I think for this whole week, at least so far, if you look at discussions across the world, there's a pretty good chance that the number one of these conversations has to do with women. Because, of course, just as I told you at the top of the program this morning, Monday, the 8th of March, was International Women's Day. And for this year, women are saying, look, they are choosing to challenge. What are they challenging? Of course, the status quo. We know how that has changed, particularly in the last 2 decades. Some persons have come to say, look, at the turn of the 21st century, it has become a woman's world, not a man's world, as we know it. Incidentally, I'm joined by a brilliant and very, very innovative lady to help us lend a voice to some of these issues this morning on the program. Helen Eki Izore is the creative director at Rural World Events. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning, and good morning, everyone.
All right. I just said a while ago that it's no longer a man's world, it's a woman's world right now. And women are making a difference across the globe. Talk to me about what has changed in between. I mean, these days, people seem to be more comfortable with the girl-child education than they were maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago, for instance.
Way back, I would say in the olden days, because it's past now and we have trashed it.
Yes.
When our parents, especially in this part of the world, we say no. When you train up a child, a female child, at a point, she will be married out, all the wealth, all everything you have spent on her goes to another family. She gets to change her name and all that, and she never gets to come back.
Right.
There are some cases when the woman is passed, she has to be buried by their husband people and buried in their land and all that. So they were drawing back and all that. But with time, civilization came, and we now know that it is not like that.
Right.
So most of these men that were educated took their turns afterwards to train their females. And that has given us a lot of empowerment. And the government in recent time has been so wonderful. Women were thrown up in the streets where, like some places in Nigeria, where by 11 years, a girl is forced to marry and all that. So these other men that were trained by our forefathers now took their turns to train female. But you find out that if a girl child is trained, you have trained a whole nation, because they are the home builders. They are very, very warm, you know, understand? Even when the father is old, this girl or this lady tends to take proper care of the elderly more than the male child that you think. But now it is a challenge for us that we are out there to do what a man can do. You know, a slogan came up a few years back when they say, what a man can do, a woman can do better. So in any field and any ramifications, you find out that women, we are all trying our best, and we are all trying to come out to do what men can do. And you all agree with me that there are some certain positions, nobody wants to put a man, because a woman is even much more organized. So I am saying, I am also challenging the men today. And in conjunction with this Women's Day this year, we are saying we are out and we are ready.
You know, you look at the world today, it seems that men are beginning to realize that the narratives have changed quite significantly, all right? Do you think men are threatened by the successes that women have recorded over time in critical sectors, for example?
I won't conclude basically, but I will say what I observed. I may not be old enough. Okay. Yeah. What I said, there was a fight. Because sometimes when
between the men and the women?
Yes, so when you have a group, when you say the woman, they will say, no, sit down there. It's not like, even in politics, they were trying to pull the female down. Because they said the place of a woman way back is in the kitchen. So they try to pull down, but we are not relenting. And you know, and some governments, some like in the developed world and all that, they've been able to help to actualize our dreams. Even in Nigeria, some of our politicians and all that, they are not after what they are trying to encourage women. For example, in Edo State, he has been trying. Even recently, 2 days ago, I read an article when he said women will be, you understand, he will be made relevant in his governance.
That's talking about Governor Obaseki now, right?
Governor Obaseki. Okay. So we say women will be made relevant in his governance. So there are so many people that are really exposed, they are really enlightened, they have a very good mindset that want to give us a landing. I need to talk to you about enlightenment and exposure in a minute. But quickly first, let's look at
family work balance for women. These days we see women going into politics big time, beyond what we had seen a few decades ago. How challenging is it for, I mean, I don't know as a politician, for instance, but there are women who are in politics in real time. How challenging is it for women to balance between their family commitments and their roles in maybe the corporate environment, for example, in politics or in business, as you are, for instance?
It's very, very challenging. You see a woman that is pregnant, going out for late meetings,
right,
and a woman that just is breastfeeding, coming so late, expressing breast milk early morning, calling on the keeper or the crèche, everyone out to check on the child, and also ensuring that there's food for the family, the husband is well taken care of. Because irrespective of the fact that you are a star or some anyhow, the man, your home must be well taken care of.
Of course.
So it's been so challenging. But I also want to encourage so many men out there, like I will use myself as an example. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to digress. I give my husband a thumbs up. Without the men accepting, it's a little bit difficult for the women to excel so much. So many men, you see them holding their babies, trying to feed the baby while the woman is out there and all that.
Right.
Even if he's not carrying the baby, if there's a helper in the house or a grandma in the house to take care of the baby, if the man is not supportive, it will not be okay. So I want to really appreciate those men who encourages their wives, who encourages women, who give them a landing spot. Because if you don't assist, no woman can shine out there. If if the husband do not assist, or the men around her do not assist, you can't shine.
Let's talk about gender-based violence. That's a very sensitive discussion, right? And we see it happen again and again and again. And when you look at the numbers, I mean, you look at statistics, you realize that women have been, for the most part, at the receiving end of gender-based violence, which stakeholders are fighting tooth and nail across the globe now, so at least minimize to its barest. How much does that also impact adversely on women and their goals?
Yeah, it gives a lot of scaring signals. You know, women are taken to be like a weaker
vessel.
Yes, a weaker vessel. In a nutshell, if you want to talk about physical strength, there's no how that a woman can match up with a man.
Right.
We can get 1 or 2 women out of 100 that can, you know, physically, let's assume. So those violence, they can barely. But we are there. There are so many people coming out now to say we have to fight it to the barest minimum. There are also groups. There are also associations. There are people you can cry out to.
Right.
There are legal bodies that you can, free of charge, if you know you are feeling anything, you are seeing it, cry out and people are there to take it up for you. We are not going to relent. The women should not relent. We are not going to fight it like a physical fight, like let's fight it to die. We are going to do it modestly, and at the end, we will get it to the barest minimum. Okay,
just to let our viewers know quickly that in a moment, we'll be taking calls on the program. I've been talking with Helen Eki Izore. She is the creative director at Rural World Event. She's helping us create perspectives and give insights into what it has been like for women in terms of the battles they've had to fight, the headwinds, the odds, and the triumphs they have also recorded. So we're going to give you that opportunity for you to call in quickly, so you can also lend your voice to this very topical issue that we're discussing on the program this morning. But quickly, just know that once you're calling, you have to turn down the audio on your television all the way. That way we can have a smooth conversation on the program. We're also live on Twitter. The handle is at ITV Radio NG, facebook.com/ITV Radio NG. There have been conversations across the world about gender equality. That's one area that has become very controversial. Some people say, no, let's not talk about gender equality. Let's talk about gender equity. Where do you stand between both?
Oh, it's going to take a long while. I don't know. The grace of God is going to abound.
Sounds like a battle of the sexes between the men and the women, right?
I strongly believe, I'm so sorry, that it's about me, gender equality.
So it should be gender equality, right?
Yes.
But people are saying that that's where there's a challenge. For the most part, there are several roles, especially in manufacturing, where you are more likely going to find men who are good fits for roles in manufacturing than women. do we still talk about equality in a case like that, for instance? Because some rules just appear to be gender specific. For example, you say these rules are for men, these rules are for women, for example. Do we have to fight over that? Are we not supposed to see them as already clearly defined?
I do not agree with you. I have not seen any field that a woman cannot play.
Okay.
Even when women can drive Dangote trucks from the north to the south to deliver cement, so what is left?
They can fly jet bombers.
You understand? So I don't quite agree. What did they do in factories that a woman cannot do? I don't know. I don't know. There is no way that they can play, except we do not win. No women, we are dog-headed. We don't give up. So they should just let it be. My own opinion. Yes. It's not like I'm saying it should rule. That's my own personal opinion.
Okay. You see, on Monday I was listening to former Vice President and Secretary of African Development Bank. She was making just the same, similar points, very brilliant points like you are doing right now on this show. And there was something she said that struck a chord in me. And she talked about how that for every year a girl child stays in school, her chances, her earning power increases by 14%. So for every 1 year you keep a girl child in school, you are increasing her earning power by 14%. And that's remarkable. I'm saying that to ask you about how much effort you are making to ensure that a girl child continues to get education. Are we doing enough on that front?
Well, like I gave kudos to Edo State government just now. I know that some other states too, they are trying when it comes to Nigeria. And I want to encourage everybody, whether government or individuals, we have to put in more. We have to really put in more. Take all our girls from the streets, take them from homes where they are used as house helps, and then push them to school. That in general, I told you earlier on that if you train a child, you have trained in a whole nation.
As a girl child,
yes,
right?
A girl child, yes. But we have to put we have to try as much as possible to encourage everybody. I am talking to everybody, both the clergy, individuals, and government, and all that. Let us, all of us, help to train a girl child.
Great. Just before we start taking calls, just to let you know that the number will be on your screen in a minute, so you can start putting those calls through. But again, please remember to turn down the audio on your television. And of course, you see how the conversation has been going. It's not a political one, so please don't call into my show and be insulting politicians and casting aspersion on institutions. Just go straight to the point. Let's talk about women, because this week is essentially dedicated to them. And it turns out I'm joined by one on the program this morning. I just asked you about girl child education now. Some persons have said there's a threat to girl child education, especially in developing countries like ours, all right? Because at the point, there's a trend we started seeing. See a situation where underage girls are married off. You see girls as young as 11, 13, they're married off. Some of them are even pregnant as early as 14, 15, 16. At the point, there was a hashtag that was trending, child not bride, for example. Women like yourself were lending their voice to that conversation. Is it possible for us to deal with this kind of situation where a girl is as young as 13, 14 and she's been married off, for instance? At that point, what's the chance that she ever can get education, ever?
There's no chance. It's the chance is very slim. When I say there is no, maybe like 2%, 3%, 5%, which is slim. Very slim. Because when they are married at that tender age, the man keeps them at home, like their property and all that. So any man that even attempt to marry a 13 or 11 years old child, what do you think? But I do not agree. I think the number is dropping. It's getting better. That's my thought. Because this thing happened mostly, especially in the north. In the south, it was minimal. It wasn't too much. And you can see in the south, it's getting better. Just a general view. I don't have statistics, though. I think it's getting better. So let us all put our voice together. Let us have a fight, and it will definitely get better. All
right. Before that fight begins, let's take a call quickly. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, I think we lost that one. But please just be sure you turn down the audio on your radio, television. That makes it easier for us to have a conversation. Hello, good morning. Welcome to TMI. Yes, good morning. Welcome to TMI. Okay, what's your name and where you're calling from? This is TMI on ITV.
Yeah, my name is Tony. I'm calling from Benin.
Oh, great, Tony. Tony, just go ahead and make your point.
Okay, hello.
Yes, we can hear you all right. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you, Tony. Go ahead and talk to me.
Okay. Now, listen, I just want a clarity on this, because what people are scared of in this part of the world, especially when it comes to people who have traveled out, is that from the woman and man equity, equal and all that, the next thing they go through is this gay rights thing. So I want to know our opinion, because that's what this thing started abroad. It started from women rights, now it's now gay rights, that people have rights to marry and all that. So that's why I think people in this part of the world are always very, very careful to say, if this girl rights thing comes out where men are equal to girls, the next thing will be men and men can do whatever they want to do. And those things are foreign to our own culture. Because here in Nigeria, a man can marry 10 wives, but one woman cannot marry more than one man.
At the same time.
I think that the culture, I think our cultures are always helped us. So I wanted to comment on that, please.
All right. Thank you, Tony, who just called from Benin. You got the point you made. He's saying that it's beautiful that you're talking about all of these rights for the girl child, the need a right for her right to go to school, get education, and so on and so forth. However, his concern is this is how it also started in developed countries, including America, for example, where there was the as it were, the push for women to be educated as much as possible. And then later it graduated from that to gay rights and all of the LGBTQ rights. So he's saying that he's nursing a certain fear where it could get to a point where the conversation is no longer about just the right of the girl to go to school, get education, decide what she wants to do with her life. But it's not going to be about, well, a girl can marry a girl, a boy can marry a boy, and so on and so forth. So he's saying that's the same way it started in the US, for example. So he wants to know your thoughts on that.
We're all going to work hard. Since we had already seen it, it has happened before.
Yes.
We'll guide ourselves against it. Even before now, I could vividly see that women that were highly empowered, like women that became career ladies, we found that more than 80% or 90% couldn't stay in their husband's house. If you will agree with me, even if I'm not using percentage, a lot of them, the marriage had to break because they couldn't calm down.
But he's more concerned about same-sex marriage.
I'm coming.
Okay.
But now it's getting better. Okay. Women are doing well. They are still in their husband's house. The men
still pursuing their dreams.
They are pursuing their dreams, and the men are supportive. And so it's boiled down on us all. So as we are going now on this trend, sensitization should also come up. Right. So that flaw that we are trying to see that it may happen in the future can be balanced. Okay, because I know for a fact that for our culture, it's not even. It is alien to our culture. Yeah, so it's not going to be a little bit. It's not going to be easy. It's not woman to woman, and accepting it generally is not going to be easy. Okay. Hello. Good morning. Yes. Welcome to the program. What's your name and location, please?
My name is Mr. Dafiaga.
Okay. Go ahead and make your contribution, sir.
Please, I want to support the opinion of the last speaker. Okay. This women rights started in America for women, the way my sister is just saying it is there. And it can talk to a lot of things. We are not Americans. We are not Britons, for God's sake. We are Africans. A man does not marry a man. A woman does not marry a woman.
Of course.
Do you want to place the woman on top of the woman's man? That is the law of God. You can't come and change it. Please, let's restrict ourselves to things we talk and we
But incidentally, nobody had even talked about. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Good. Nobody had even talked about same-sex marriage when, I mean, just before the other caller came through. He was only saying that. Essentially, the women should find a way to put a threshold on this sort of conversation, so it doesn't, according to him, graduate to a point where it now becomes a situation where we are having a conversation about same-sex marriage.
Which I'm saying. We are others who are graduates. I have younger sisters who have master's degree. They are scattered all over the world. So, you see, a lot of women talk about rape of women and wife battering. Me, I don't batter my wife, but I cannot compare any other person to myself. Right. You understand? But the way our young girls dress right now, all those miscreants at Ring Road and other places in Nigeria, they will rape them. You even see a married woman wearing a kind of clothes that when she bends down, every falls behind. It's not fair.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for your point. But again, that has also been a very naughty issue to deal with. People talk about how that, God forbid, a girl is raped, for instance, and the next scenario that plays out is she's being asked, what were you wearing at the time it happened? Where did you go to? Why did you go to his house? And blah, 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 blah. Does all of this become basis to justify rape? Of course, it doesn't. However, it also doesn't take away from the fact that everyone, including the girls, must be responsible for what they wear, where they go to, and the things that they do. However, ultimately, it doesn't justify the issue of race. So, yes, exactly. So let's leave it at that for now. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, welcome to the
Tony
program.
again.
Okay.
Can I comment?
By all means.
Okay, hello.
Yes, we can hear you all right,
my
Tony.
Question so this is Tony again. My question actually to the lady there is that in America and in this foreign part of the world, that's how this thing started with equal rights for women. Then it now went up to gay rights and all that. Now I'm asking her categorically, sitting down, the way you say women should have rights, like this and like that. Tomorrow, some men will come out and say, oh, well, if women can have rights to do this and do that, so why can't a man not have a right to do this and do that? My opinion is that our culture here should be preserved. It's very valuable, and that most times when you start from this number one, step one, it normally will go to step 2, step 3, step 4. That's where America got to where they are now. This one can explain to her that it's not better we preserve our culture here than to start trying to take, because this culture of women's rights is coming from abroad. It's not coming from here. So they're gonna, you cannot import one thing and not import the rest. My fear is that when you import one, and the rest are not going to follow. So
you're saying that the import, to use your word, the import is a total package, right? Okay, just to let you know, Tony, a while ago, Helen here also made a point very clear. She said, look, our culture makes it almost impossible for things like same-sex marriage to infiltrate. All right, but your point is very salient. You're saying let's preserve our culture in such a way that the Africanness in us, quote and unquote, all right, is not eroded. Of course, that's a very salient point to make. I want to talk to you about something else as it has to do with women. We've seen situations where a lot of women become obstinate sometimes they become stubborn, so to speak, about how they want to pursue their dream, how that they have goals set out they have to accomplish. And that seems to get in the way of family commitments. For example, commitment to their spouses, commitment to their children, and the entire family value, and so on and so forth. Is that not an overstep on the part of women, where you're saying, for example, I want to climb up the corporate ladder, I must bag a PhD, you don't care whose horse is God, you don't care how it impacts your family, and so on and so forth. How do you deal with such a sensitive situation?
I mentioned it earlier on that at some point before now, it wasn't that better. But I can say that it's getting better. Okay. Sensitization is still what we are going to do. Yes. Right. But you find out that a lot of people now, they are the hems of affairs in their offices, the corporate world, and they are women, and their men are supportive that they're still married. Yeah. I said way back, when I was growing up, most career ladies that I knew, they were not in their husband's house. They could not cope. It's also brought down to what the last speaker was talking about. Yeah. He's scared that once you give them enough chance, they will try to, overuse it. Let's give our culture. Now the culture says the woman should be inside. It should be in the kitchen. That's part of what he was talking about. But we are still going out there to also educate them, tell them, give us a chance. But if you are given a chance, you must still preserve and keep your home. You must still be loyal to your husband. You must still provide his food. Right. You must be tent for the house. And people are managing it very well. I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 persons. That's the one I have seen that are managing it. I know some people are not still able to manage it. So we're going to go out there to still talk to them. We are encouraging you to have equal rights with me, even if we don't have the equal right, 100%. But you can climb the ladder, but you must also believe in our culture. And also, the man, your home must be preserved and must be maintained.
You see, they say most people in Africa, including Nigeria, still live below the poverty line. Some statistics say $1.50 a day, less than $1.50 a day, and that's pathetic, really. But again, it's a pointer to the level of poverty that's prevalent in the global south, or in the third world countries, as they call us now, all right? talk to me as to how much poverty affects the fortunes of the girl child.
It's very huge.
Parents poor, environment poor, community poor.
So when parents are poor and they can barely train 4 children, what happens? They pick the male.
Over the girl.
Over the girl. Because females are always taken as a weaker sex. So after a while, she can marry and start having children, no problem. She doesn't need so much. We need a man to carry on with our name, the name, the family name and all that. So it affects a lot. It affects.
There's this
that's why some NGOs are coming up to train, go to community, pick some children, train. Some individuals that are wealthy, they are coming up to train. Then the government too, they are coming up to train female, because sometimes their parents cannot, they chose the male over the female. Yeah,
you know, there's been this controversy about feminism. I mean, someone like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, for example, has been in the eye of the storm time and again over comments she had made as to the subject, as it touches on the subject of feminism. Some persons at some point have had to, for whatever reason, misconstrue the message in a statement to say, well, there has to be a battle between the male and the female, and so on and so forth. From where you stand, what would you say is your understanding of feminism, for example? Because these days, it's more like a chieftaincy title. Every girl is telling you, I'm a feminist, for instance, and you're wondering, is that in some way equivalent to a PhD or something?
No. And the other speaker said they want to do it the way they did in America.
America and Britain.
Then they will not get, it's getting off, but a lot of us, even some parents, the clergymen, they won't permit that. They will, even if they are saying it, there should be a counter.
To it.
Yes, so it's to it. We also keep sensitizing, also keep talking, also keep educating, so people don't pick up this one that they're trying to fly. So I think our culture too, I also believe in culture.
Culture, yeah. Okay.
But also, we'll have to soften it a little. But when we talk about culture, there are so many things that doesn't even play now. We accepted the Western world. So if we have accepted
a lot of things would come without acceptance.
Yeah, so let us keep on accepting some more.
Okay.
But not to man marriage or woman to man. We won't accept
marriage.
that. Yes.
We are going to take a few more calls on the program this morning. Of course, we will, because we want you to be able to lend your voice to the conversation. But I still want to talk a bit more with my guests on the program. I mean, you have carved a niche for yourself in business, big time, right? And obviously, you have trained people, you have mentored people, and you continue to do that every day you wake up, for instance, right? Talk to me about skills, the importance of skills for ladies. Because some persons have said, look, let's face it, ultimately, not everybody must go to school to acquire formal education, including girls, for instance. What is the importance of skills to a girl?
I don't think you can do so much without education. So before you acquire skill, there must be basics. Formal education. Yes. If you don't, you struggle amongst those people that are educated. You find out that people go to university, they finished, after graduating, they will go and learn a skill. So if you have not gone to school at all, how do you contend with that person? First and foremost, I tell them, even if they have to come to me to learn skill, I would ask you, I say, you will do 50% here and 50% in school. So at the same time, you say, go to school in the morning, in the evening, come and acquire the skill. If not, you might not have the chances in the nearest future. Now, it might be a little bit easy. When a graduate comes to learn how to do vulcanizing, and you have never been to school, you want to do vulcanizing, for example. So what are your chances? So I still want to encourage the government. I still want to, individuals, please, let's put more to that education first, then skill acquisition after. If it's the basics of, that basic of school sets or something like that. But if you can go beyond, fine. By all means. Most everybody around me, they are graduates now because we are into styling and designing. And the ones that went to school do, if you take percentages, they do better than the ones. Yes. Okay, although we can say one or two of persons that have not been to 4 years of university, they are still doing well. But they are special cases. Okay. So I am still encouraging. And education has come almost so cheap, especially that first and primary, secondary. So let us encourage parents to encourage their wards or their children to go through that first before acquiring skills. it's my own opinion.
Yes, you know, when we talk about women, for example, we're always looking at government and government agencies and so on and so forth. Incidentally, you are a key private sector player. How much can the private sector do to help the fortunes, help better the fortunes of the girl child?
Well, I've seen so many people, so many individuals still trying their best. So we can still go on talking to people to help more.
All right.
Yeah. We need to encourage them to go to school. We are still happy that where we are now, this state and this South is a little bit better, but we have not reached the mark yet. Like we are done, that all girl child is in school. So I am encouraging all the individuals, if you know you can, please train up a girl child. Please, it's from me. Let it be from me to you on this Women's Day week.
Yeah.
Yes, please, just help. Go to any locality, see the females on the streets, help to send one or two. It's very cheap.
Right.
It's not as expensive because government has done a lot. So the little that is left with school uniforms and few books and few other things, necessity, just let us encourage a girl child.
You know, let's talk about the elephant in the room now. In recent years, we have continued to hear and see cases on university campuses. Some of them will end up in the realm of speculations and allegations. Others, we have seen situations where, in fact, some persons have been arrested, investigated, and prosecuted. We've seen lecturers go to jail in this country over issues that have to do with sexual harassment, sexual assaults, and so on and so forth. Does that bother you at all? Yes,
a lot. They do. Then on the part, the females too, I also blame them. The girls, the students. If you do your work very well, if you stay on your lane, you might not be harassed. But also, they set up a lot of schools. I'm sure they have pushed some schools. Some schools, their rectors, their VCs have been able to push it down. Okay. By taking
provided leadership and of course also winning a big stick.
Yes, on those lecturers. Yeah. And I don't think there should be schools now where you don't have a place where you can report such an issue. Formally lodge complaints. Yes, there are places they had to set up, committees and all that where you can just go there, report and investigations are made. Some of these female students, when they say the person was raped, what did you wear? Where were you? What time of the day and all that? If you look at it, it's not a right for the person to rape the girl, but of course, if you also organize yourself very well, you might not fall into that temptation or into that problem. So read your books, come to class early, do what you're supposed to do, read your book, try in the examination and write. Don't flaunt yourself around the lecturer so he doesn't also come to you. I know that in that class, there might be girls that the lecturers will not even know until they graduate. So try as much as possible to also help yourself, for others to help you. And so if you flaunt yourself, you're looking for marks and all that. So it's give me what you have, so give me what I have. So on the other side, for the other side of the lecturers, a lot of talks have been going on, a lot of strict, the arrests and expulsion or dismissal from work and all that has been going on. Right, sure. So it's from both ends.
I know a few young ladies who are incredibly talented and resourceful. They are mechanics, right? They fix cars, both electrical aspects of the vehicle and everything else in between. But I'll tell you what, when they started out, it was a big fight from their families, especially from their parents, and then from society, because there's a way society looks at some of these roles. But today they've broken even, I can tell you that for sure. Nigeria is a unique environment. I mean, just imagine when you were 19, for example, you woke up one day and you told your parents you wanted to be a mechanic, for instance. Just imagine how it would sound in your dad's ear, for example, right? How much of hurdle does the average girl need to scale over to do something different from the ordinary, to break the rule, for example, for the right reason?
Just follow your heart. And have a good fight. Fight it to the end. Fight does not mean physical fight. Right. Fight in consistency. Push your drive. Bring what you want to do to the table. Have points to buttress it. Buttress your point. And be consistent in what you are doing. Sometimes some parents saw it, and after a while they gave up. But now it's a little bit easier.
Right.
It's a little bit, because you can get a pastor to talk to, you can get a neighbor to talk to that will talk to your parents. And so many parents have given up. They don't even care any longer. It's getting better than when I was 19. It was much more difficult. So you don't need to have a physical fight with your parents or with people around you. There are ways you can present your own point that with time, that's why I say consistent. They will not accept what you want to do and how you want to do it. Even in your marriages, if you want to do some things, like when we started, you want to go out there and start being on the street and leave the children. You know, for my kind of business, you can be on the street for days, not coming back home to sleep out nights, setting up and all that. There was a fight, but I was consistent. But today everybody's happy and they are proud of me. So just because you don't have like physical fight, keep doing it, do not relent. Then someday, somehow, you will get there.
From your assessment, how much of a difference do you think women are making within the public space, especially where it has to do with politics, for example? Somebody told me a few years ago, look, politicians usually hold meetings late into the night. For example, they can start a meeting at 8 p.m. and they are not done until 4 a.m. the next day. And they are wondering, how does a married woman attend such a meeting? I mean, that stretches for about 8 straight hours, late into the other morning, and so on and so forth. How do we put that in perspective for people to understand that, look, it is what it is? Men and women must provide leadership going forward, for example.
It wasn't about the strength of the woman. It was about a woman being in the midst of another man.
Yes.
You know, our culture do not permit you to stay with men late night.
Especially when you are a married woman.
Yes. It wasn't the strength. If a man can stand for 24 hours, I think a woman can.
No, I'm looking at the optics. I mean, how society feels about that here, because we are largely conservative about these things.
But do you know, I am still telling you that it's getting better by the day. Especially if the man says, I am comfortable. Okay. Even if the family member, the eldest in the family, okay, let's put it, I'm using it.
As we say in Benin,
comes to say, why would you allow me to say, excuse me, sir, I'm so sorry, I am comfortable with it. The man will never come back. So it depends on our husbands, how far they take it.
We're going to talk about husbands in a minute, but let's see if we can take a call or two quickly. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, welcome to TMI.
Please, I want to say the good truth about women going to politics or going to club the following morning. What about women who are doctors, who are nurses? They don't do the same thing in the hospital. They don't go to work and come back in the morning. What about those who are doctors? So the man of the husband is an agreement. The competition is a job. The nurse is a professional job. The doctor is a job too. So if you know how to become a politician, let the family know that you want to be a politician. So you can be to go to any night and hold the meeting with your colleagues. That's my solution, sir.
Thank you so much. In fact, that gentleman is towing your path.
I didn't
Okay, I'll tell you quickly in summary what he says. He says, look, there shouldn't be a problem with a woman attending a political meeting that stretches into the early morning, because what happens if the woman were a medical doctor or a nurse, for instance, and she has to do an entire night, maybe for 3-4 days back to back, and so on and so forth. So he's saying that it has to, in his word, be an agreement between the woman and the husband. So for as long as the man is comfortable with it, it shouldn't be a problem, right? But just before we let you off, because I know you are going to have a busy day today as always, all right? There's a lady, I mean, there's a young girl somewhere watching now and listening to you the whole time, maybe confused, maybe at the crossroads, for example, and she's wondering, what do I do with my life going forward? I'll give you a perspective quickly. One time I was doing a radio show and a lady sent a message and said she was feeling guilty about something. She had been dating a married man, all right, who had been seeing her through the university, private university for that matter. And then she had gotten to 300 level, penultimate year as they call it. Her fear was, at that point, on the one hand, she thought she was doing the wrong thing, so she wanted to backtrack. But she now got scared that if she left the man, she was not going to find a means or source of paying herself through school for the next 1 year. So she asked me, what do I do? I mean, instinctively, the only thing I could ask her was, do you have skills? And she said she could make crafts, beads, and stuff. And then we just talked about that for a minute or two. This was a live radio show. Off the top of my head, I think you have a good number of girls who are in that kind of situation or in similar situations. What would you tell them in light of this year's theme for International Women's Day, Choose to Challenge?
In my company, I have about adult staff, like casual staff, they are up to like 50% that are in school. Then that 50%, 40% are male, 10% are females. The females are not coming out as much. It's not about blabbing, it's not about saying that I pay so much. I think a child in Uniben, if he can come to us and to work every weekend for 4 weeks, will be able to go through school. In Uniben, I'm not saying a private school.
Okay, in a typical public university.
Yes, and there are so many people like me on the streets of Benin that can accommodate them and give them a part-time job that can save them through school. Even some of these children that are with us, they also send feeding money to their parents. From what they earn here, they pay their school fees, they pay their accommodation, they buy their handouts. If there's handout, I don't know. They're able to take care and feed themselves.
Basic school supplies.
Yes, because it's not too expensive. Right. No, Uniben is not too expensive. I am not saying it's too cheap. I don't want to.
But you're saying it's affordable overall.
It's affordable. So I have a lot of them. When I say 60% of them, I have more than 40 persons in school that are with us. We have permanent staffs, we have casual staff, we have a lot of them coming from Uniben, some coming from Ekpoma. They travel all the way from Ekpoma, Auchi, by weekend to come and work. So these ladies are not ready to do so much. So I want to encourage you. Business is even getting easier with social media.
Right.
Just be consistent and do it and throw it there. People will see you and they come. Time has passed when you have to recommend me. It has to be word of mouth and all that. Yeah. Word of mouth is just minimal now. Just do what you are doing right. And once you do it right and you put it on social media and all that, you will excel. Apart from that, a lot of ladies are not ready to also work. They just want the soft one, sleep with the man, you give him money. There's so many other things you can do to earn. If we want to go through what I went through to go through school, we will not live here. I did a whole lot to be able to see myself through school without prostituting. So it can happen to any other person. Try yourself. If a girl was with me and she is very consistent, and I know she does not sleep out with married men, and what I pay her in a month is like, let me say between 60 to 140,000. So earn more than that. But I don't want to, this is a life show. If you're able to earn that, I know you cannot pay your school fees and you are consistent. Myself and my husband should be able to take it up. And it's not only me, so many people.
Who have the same inclination.
Yes. This guy is consistent. And we can see just have 1 year to go. Their school fees a little bit much. Let's pay the school fees. Whatever she earns now can pay her, can feed her, and she can do her basics. We'll take the school fees from there.
I'll tell you something quickly. Even though I'm not a lady, this last part of the conversation has given me so much of relief. I must tell you that. I mean, knowing that it is possible overall for a girl to stay in school and still make money legitimately by the side. But again, it has to do with a transformation of the thought process for many of these girls. It turns out that you are one lady who has been able to, who has chosen to challenge, as we are saying this week, with International Women's Day theme. I want to thank you so very much for coming on the program. We appreciate it because you have been there, done that, as they say.
I have a conclusion.
Okay, by all means, go ahead and add that.
I want to conclude by saying this. It's more like a personal thing and about my personal life. When we started, it was all me and me and me alone. Like a one-man show. Yes. And my husband was with a company that he was working with. When he saw what was rolling in, the way people were trying to pressure, please come and deliver, please come and do this, please come and give me this, come and give me this. I was saying, no, I'm booked, I can't do. My husband said, do you have the materials? I said, yes, I do. How much is this person going to pay? He was so surprised. What the person was offering that was turning down was more than his salary. But I had no right to tell the man, please stop you. Don't tell me he resigned. Yeah, he resigned. He resigned about 6 to 8 years ago. And immediately he resigned. He became we became both signatory to the account. Yeah. And we're applying for things when we're going for a seminar or going for holidays. He became the principal applicant and I became the second person. So it can happen. Just give your woman some chance. Yeah. If you had not given me that chance to get to that point, I said one way they were offering that I was saying I am booked was more than his monthly salary. Yeah. He now said, now that you're saying you are booked, this money, this is the truth. If you can get to him, he will repeat this thing. I can give you the date, the time that this thing happened. And he said, this money they are offering, how much is it? Do you have the material? I said, yes, but I cannot supervise it. The time. I don't have the time. Manpower was a challenge for you. Manpower was a challenge. I had some workers. I said, do you have workers that you can give to me to execute it? And they will be able to assist. Because he wasn't putting his eyes. I said, yes, I have 2. Maybe those 2 can bring some more boys for you. Right. Then you can source for 1 or 2 persons to do it. He saw that what he was going to earn was one day was more than his salary. Then the next, after a few weeks, I saw a letter on the table. I opened the letter, he has resigned. So he did not even need to discuss with me.
Yeah.
So he gave me the opportunity and the platform for me to start it. And after which, we had to
and
join.
the family is better and happier for it.
We are
Well,
happy.
apparently.
Yes, we are happy.
I think that's a big testimony, and I hope it changes somebody's life who is watching this morning. Thank you again, Helen, for coming to share with us.
Thank you so much.
I've been talking with Helen Eki Izore. She is the creative director at Rural World event here in Benin City, Nigeria. But just remember that this whole week, essentially, we're talking about women. Started since Monday, the 8th of March. It's International Women's Week, as I would love to call it right now, because women are being asked to choose, to challenge. All right, so we're taking a break at this point. We'll back shortly to bring you the rest of the program. Stay with us.